Now that that's over, you're watching the Archfiend.
Alright guys, it's a new month, and I promise to try and do these every single month, even though, excuse me, I need a drink of water. I promise to do these Twitter question and answer videos, and by the way, that's going to be the name, no clever title or anything like that, because that's what these are, Twitter question and answer videos. I promise to try and do these every single month for you guys, and then it ends up being like every fourth month. I like these videos because this is a way for you guys, and if you don't know, link for my Twitter's in the video description. You guys tweet questions to me. I put out a little prompt saying, hey, I'm going to be filming one of these, and I let you guys ask questions for an hour. Anyways, blah, blah, blah. I like these because this gives you guys a way to ask me something that you want to hear my thoughts and opinions on, and I, dig the fact that you guys want to hear my thoughts and opinions on a number of different things out there. And this is a way to address topics that either I don't get to, I forget to cover them unless you guys ask them of me, or it's something that I've never really, thought about to make a video about, or I don't think there's enough content there to devote an entire video to. So, try to bang out, 30 or so topics in one of these videos. So, anyways, you guys seem to enjoy them every time I upload these, so let's get to it. Question number 1. And by the way, my throat is like raspy today and my throat dries out, so what a better day than today to make a video where I'm going to talk probably for like an hour. Opinions on Carl Sagan, asks CyberDemon531. Carl Sagan is simply a genius. If you're willing to open up your mind to understand the thoughts and logic that he puts out there, he can be a very educational, facet in your brain, or to your brain. I'm not too educated, forgive me. And you don't need to be a believer of all of his concepts or even, the ideologies that he believes in himself. Just to see and appreciate him as a critical thinker, and to open up your mind and think more than what you may have about certain things in life. Anyways, hit the little search bar up there, Carl Sagan. If you don't know who it is, it's S-A-G-A-N. Anyway, brilliant man. That's pretty much all there is to say about it. Okay. Las Judai wants to know, what is my favorite and least favorite episode of The Simpsons? I would say least favorite. There's not really one that turned me off the show, but pretty much like the last half of the entire run of the show is just nothing. It's just an irrelevant show. It's just a show going through the motions. I can't remember the last time I was interested in even seeing an episode of The Simpsons yet. I consider it one of my favorite all-time television shows, because pretty much up to the first 10 seasons are, great television. Starts trailing off a little bit more near the end of that 10-year run, but actually it's well over a 10-year run. But least favorite episode, I would just put pretty much anything from the final couple seasons. And I saw an episode with Lady Gaga. That was like one of the last episodes I watched, and even having an appreciation for Lady Gaga, I was like, wow, this is unwatchable. So, sorry Lady Gaga, sorry little monsters, put your sad little monster paws up. Anyway, favorite episode, it was the episode where Bart wants to become a daredevil, and he starts doing stunts in like the school parking lot with his skateboard and stuff like that, and it all builds up to him wanting to jump the Springfield Gorge. There's a little rock ramp, and he was going to jump over to one side to the other, and basically the episode ends with Homer talking him out of it because he doesn't want him to be, a daredevil and risk his life. Anyways, he goes to hug Bart at the end, and he's on Bart's skateboard backwards, and he accidentally starts rolling down the ramp and goes up and over the edge of the gorge, and Homer and everyone's looking on, they're excited because he's about to clear and get to the other side of the gorge, when as he's getting to the end, he's about to make it, he just drops right off and falls down the gorge. Now they pick up his prone body, they helicopter lift him out, they throw him in the back of an ambulance. The ambulance immediately crashes into a tree, and Homer falls completely back down the gorge. I thought that was one of the funniest things I saw as a kid. I think it's still one of the funniest things I see on television today. Absolutely hilarious episode. And another thing I've noticed, in certain episodes where they show the Springfield Gorge, even years later, if you notice on the other side of the gorge, I think it was even in the movie as well, the Simpsons movie, you can see the ambulance still crashed into the tree, the ambulance that Homer got loaded into. Like that show like references things like that all the time from like previous episodes. Like you'll just see a random character that was like a main character in one episode. You just randomly see him walk by in the school or just something like that. So anyways, if you're a geek like me about the show, you notice little intricacies like that about it. Anyway, Jay Crotty 1878 wants to know, do I lift? I don't lift anymore. When I moved to this house here in Philadelphia, I wasn't nearby a 24-hour gym like I was in the other section of Philadelphia I lived in. And I haven't been to a gym since. So I recently got introduced from a coworker, excuse me, I don't have a job, an acquaintance of mine got me hooked on resistance bands. Just happened to be talking about, and he had an extra set of bands in his car, and he gave them to me, and I tried them out. Holy shit. I used to just see resistance bands as something like, I was like, oh, it's just something like girls use to warm up for yoga. It's, it's not going to give you a good workout. Don't knock that shit till you try it, people. Resistance bands are probably the simplest, the easiest, complete way to get a total workout without even moving one foot. You can just stand in place, do so many different exercises. Holy shit. I'm addicted to these. I've been doing them for about 4 weeks now. I've been toning up a lot better than I have recently. Granted, I started to tone down quite a bit after I moved in here because I didn't hit the gym for months. But anyway, again, don't knock them till you try 'em. Awesome. 1987, Black Ice wants to know, how does it feel to be the greatest on all of YouTube at what you do? Stuff like that is flattering as much as people think I have an ego that has to feed off of feedback like this. I recognize while, it's very, very flattering to see something like this, it's completely arbitrary to see something like this. Like, no offense to you, 1987 Black Ice, but to be called the greatest at what you do, pretty much in most circumstances, unless there's an absolute rubric that you can measure quantitatively what the person does, when something's opinion-based, whereas me giving my opinion and other people giving me their opinion, stuff like that, there's no real absolute way to say, hey, oh, I am clearly the best at what I do. Even if I had more subscribers than anyone else on YouTube, it doesn't mean I'm the best at what I do. It just means I got the ability to get more attention, which doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. That's like, an argument I always pull up with people. Like, someone will say, like, oh, you're bitching about Ray William Johnson. Well, he's got millions and more views than you. That's like saying, well, Justin Bieber is clearly one of the best music artists out there because he sells more albums than 99% of all the other music artists. I mean, there's only a handful of music artists that sell more albums than Justin Bieber. Therefore, he's better than all of them, right? Anyway, thank you, 1987 Black Ice. I appreciate that. I'm very, humbled that people think I'm, quote-unquote, the greatest ever. I'm just glad you guys come back to watch my videos, and we'll just keep it at that. Do I have any specific fetishes? And if so, name them. All right. There is this one fetish. Me and Girl Fiend do it all the time. I can't believe... oh, my God. She's going to kick my ass. We both get naked, and I don't know if anyone else has done this, but trust me, it feels amazing. And if anyone out there has never done it, they should, try it. And preferably with a girl. When your penis gets erect, stick it in the girl's vagina and then move it in and out. And keep doing that for a while. Holy shit, that feels awesome. I don't know what the specific name for that fetish is, but I really like doing that. It's good times. So try it for yourselves at home. Like, you know, don't knock me for having a fetish. Come on, at least try it out for yourselves. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much the only fetish that I know of that I have. Anyway, and that was Crash 6351. Bird's the word. 44. Have you ever had balls on your chin? Not literal testicles, if that's what you're implying, you dirty bird. Anyway, I guess I technically, I'm sure at some point, like at soccer practice or something, I was carrying like a big bag of balls for the coach or something, and you know the balls might have hit my chin. So I don't want to technically say no if it's technically true. Anyway, yeah. Pioneers Productions, Prod, whatever. Can you see the Cleveland Browns winning a Super Bowl before the Eagles? No. And that's not saying that I feel the Eagles are clearly on their way to making a Super Bowl dream come true in the next few years. It's that Cleveland is hands down the most cursed town, cursed sports town in America right now. I mean, you have the Browns, like they finally started getting good in the mid-90s, and then what happens? Modell ships them over to Baltimore where they win a Super Bowl a few years later as the Ravens. You get LeBron James, the greatest superstar playing in the game today, takes his talent to South Beach. I mean, the town can't catch a break. When's the last time they've won a championship? Like the Indians winning a World Series in like 1835, like back when they were still playing with rocks and like crude baseball bats fashioned out of tree branches. I mean, Jesus Christ, what a shit town for sports. I mean, and not that their teams are always all awful from that end, but it's just, I couldn't be able to stomach if the Eagles moved to another town and then won a Super Bowl a few short years later. I would just, whoa, god damn, it sickens my stomach just to think about that. Anyway. So yeah, I think the Eagles will win a Super Bowl or just not win a Super Bowl, and the Browns will not win a Super Bowl because Philadelphia seems to be cursed from the football end of things as much as, well, not as much as Cleveland, because at least our team didn't get shipped out of town and watch another franchise win with our team. Anyway, McCain, 1980, why don't you follow college football? That is an excellent question. That's something I even thought about making an entire video about. I don't have any problem with anyone that follows college football. If that is your thing and you cheer your ass off and you buy the shirts and the banners and all this other stuff and you decorate your house, that's all well and good. The college football environment and being in a live crowd for a college football game is something that's completely different from like an NFL game, and not different in a bad way. It's just such high energy, and just anyways, you can just tell just by watching on television. It's a completely different environment. I don't follow college football for the one main reason that professional football in this area is just so leaps and bounds higher than any college football. Like, what is the big teams in the Philadelphia area, like Rutgers, Penn State, and we all know how I feel about Penn State. There's no real, like, I mean, you go Ivy League, you got Princeton University, but it's not really a college football type area. Whereas like you go like, you know, somewhere like Michigan or Detroit, and you know, you see like the University of Michigan get just, you know, so much more recognition in public, and followed as a sports fan base compared to something like the Detroit Lions, mainly because they have a tradition of winning at the University of Michigan. And I can understand that. There's nothing really like that in this area. Like, when's the last time a team in this area won a national championship, won a significant bowl game, anything like that? I mean, you really have to go back to the mid-'80s with Penn State, as far as I'm concerned. I know somebody will be like, well, this bowl game in 1992 is pretty bad. Actually, I think Penn State did win a national championship in the mid-'90s. But again, I barely follow college football, so don't ask me to start pulling dates out. Another thing that I can't stand is often the objective in college football is to kick the man while they're down. Not literally, but what I mean from a figurative sense, that if like your team has a Heisman hopeful or someone that's projected to go in the NFL draft, like a quarterback or a running back, there's several games a year on any big top 20 ranked team's schedule where you'll see like them be favored in the point spread like 30 to 60 points. And I'm like, who wants to watch a game where a team is favored 60 plus points, playing some cheap division school that has no one that's even going to make a professional level, where you have this team that's probably going to have 30 to 40 people make the NFL rosters? That's not competition. That's like the jail league playing the Pop Warner League. I mean, there's just such a disparity between the talent levels. Now, granted, I know it's just a few times a year that you'll see a major top 20 team play one of these scrub, not necessarily that they're scrub teams. It's just that one has a clear level advantage of competition over the other. And I don't see it as competition. And then when you get in like the third quarter and you start seeing a game be 48-0, and you see the starting quarterback still, and you see the starting running back still, and it's like, why are they doing that? It's like, oh, they don't want to hurt their draft status. They have to keep them in for the entire game. Risk a fluke injury, just anything like that. And I'm like, I can't get into that. I can't get into that. So anyways, college football's not for me. Yeah, anyway. Guerry, whatever the hell your name is. What or who's the player you have the most respect for on the Cowboys, Giants, and the Redskins? The Cowboys goes without saying, because I've always said I'd love to see Jason Witten in an Eagles jersey. I'm not so much now. He seems to be declining in his career at this point, but who knows? Jason Witten, mainly because, and jeez, I'm getting choked up talking about this. I'm getting choked up talking about enemy teams here. Jason Witten is probably the biggest Eagle killer. Like, he's had some of his biggest franchise games against the Eagles. And although I hate seeing him destroy my team, I'm like, God damn. It was like the same thing like Claude Lemieux and the Devils. I hated him. Hated him. He just raped the Flyers every single time they played him. But I said, God damn, I'd love to see him in a Flyers jersey. Jason Witten. As for the Giants, no one. Tuck. I like big menacing linemen. As for the Redskins, God, it's so dumb to say I respect RG3 after only seeing him in 4 games. But every time I see RG3 play, I'm like, oh, look, it's what Michael Vick used to look like before he signed his contract extension on the Eagles. And it reminds me of, like, I was like, wow, I remember that great year that Vick had 2 seasons ago. Boy, he looks like someone that would just, like, torch a player like RG3 in a head-to-head. And, like, that's why I'm like, oh, I would love to see that Vick from 2 years ago face off against RG3 2 times this year. But it's like, wow, RG3 looks just, leaps and bounds better than how Vic's looked this year. Barring last night, Vic actually looked pretty good in the win against the Giants. Anyway, yeah, that's as for anyone else in the Redskins. Team's been so relevant for so long. Sorry, Redskin Nation. What is the best meal you ever had in a restaurant? This is the hands down favorite meal that I get. It's actually at Red Lobster. I know people are going to be like, well, you're a vegetarian. What the hell do you eat at Red Lobster? I get the linguine noodles and sauce. Like, that's all I get. I just get a plate of the noodles with the Alfredo sauce. And I just eat the Cheddar Bay biscuits there. And what I'll do is I'll take a spoon. I'll put the biscuits in the noodles and sauce. And I'll just spoon up, like, part of the biscuit and the sauce. And I'm getting aroused just talking about this. I would show you, but there's rules and regulations here on YouTube. That is quite possibly the ultimate meal. I've easily knocked 5 to 7 years off my life for as many times as I've been to Red Lobster and partaken in this meal. It's so good. So good. Thank you, Driver Films. And this Twitter app keeps fritzing on me. What is the worst kind of tit you ever groped? I think he spelled groped wrong. Anyway, all the tits I've groped have been fine. I think. There might have been a few drunk times where I accidentally grabbed someone. I was like, oh, god damn, I didn't mean to touch you. But anyways, it happens to the best of us. Utter74 wants to know, what's my opinion of the Hobbit being a trilogy? It's the same as my opinion of the last Harry Potter being broken up to 2 films. It's obviously being done for monetary ends of things. Not so much in the movie theaters, but when you package them in DVDs, it sells a lot better to be like the trilogy, re-released, digitally remastered, shit like that. It has a nicer flow than the Hobbit Part 1 and 2, digitally remastered, or the Hobbit Trilogy! Yeah, so anyway, sells a lot better from that end. And obviously they can easily stretch the material. There's a ton of shit from those old books to, you know, stretch out a 3rd movie out of it. Anyway, oh, that's right. I was thinking that he asked me what I thought about the actual trilogy, but I haven't seen it. Anyway, can you make a video? I want to watch something good while I'm eating my Chinese. Eating your Chinese what? I'm assuming food. Or hooker! Anyway, how often do you and the girl fiend have sexual intercourse? What time is it? Hello? Anyway. Hello. Is Jacques there? Last name Strap. Classic Simpsons line. Classic Simpsons line. Even though I think he's probably actually, from the picture on his icon here for Pogi Joe, probably doesn't remember that episode of The Simpsons, but we'll see. Michael 534. Oh, there's way too many numbers on your screen name. You gotta be kidding me. Why is WWE so gay now? For the simple reason that, well, actually, there's a number of reasons. A lot of people want to put the main focus on why WWE in this PG era is so atrocious on Linda McMahon and her run for Senate in Connecticut. That's part of it. That absolutely is part of it, because they absolutely are changing the tenor of the show, especially now that this is her 2nd run. We're noticing, especially around campaign time or around the election time, that the show has absolutely toned down, and you know, getting rid of anything like blood or anything like that, and even to stop a match if someone gets cut open and patch them up. It's like, oh my god, are we seriously at this state of affairs with professional wrestling? It's people fighting. If someone bleeds, hello, who doesn't know that happens? Anyway, I think though one of the main reasons is that Vince McMahon is just getting older and not participating in the company as much. Like Triple H has stepped in as CEO, even so far as to cutting his hair. I don't know if you've seen a picture of Triple H lately, but his hair is actually shorter than mine, if you can believe that. And he's someone his whole career had, you know, hair hanging down to his shoulder blades. It's basically a new generation and a new mindset, because think of when Vince McMahon was running things. He had to do a number of things to give himself competitive advantages or competitive, just basically endurance, because it was either him battling all the numerous territories, or Ted Turner throwing his hand into WCW and giving Eric Bischoff a shit ton of money to help buy away Vince's talent. He saw his company as a viable threat from his competitors. Now, who's his biggest threat? TNA? TNA ain't shit. Vince McMahon doesn't fear TNA doing anything, or Impact Wrestling, whatever the hell they call their company right now. There's no fear of being taken over by competition right now. Now, granted, they could fall asleep and let someone creep in and gain a lot of ground in the industry, but they have such a healthy lead right now that it's ridiculous. So, Vince is a grandfather now. He's got grandchildren, and you know, your mind just starts changing when things like that come into play. And now you have the generation taken over of like Stephanie and Triple H heading up a lot of day-to-day operations there. So you have them as, you know, they have no real vendetta. They have no real need to be like, oh, we gotta go, you know, R-rated, push the sexual envelope, stuff like that. We gotta, you know, get the ratings as high as possible. I doubt they even care that last week's Raw got a 2.7 rating. I remember when WCW was closing up shop, they were getting, you know, 2-point ratings. Think WWE cares about that? No, they're still making so much money. They still sell pay-per-views, not as much as they did in the past, but in certain pay-per-views like WrestleMania last year did over 1 million buys. That's more buys in that one pay-per-view than all the total pay-per-view buys they would get in like 96 or 97 combined. So they're making money, and they have no real need to make an ultimate amount of money or just be greedy about it. And I don't know, I think they're just getting complacent, and they're like, well, people are entertained, we're making a profit, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit if we're not making as much money? I mean, they really don't need much more to finance their company. They're more than affording payroll, they're more than affording operational costs, so what's the point if they make $1 billion or $10 billion? So anyways, that's why I think WWE has been so quote-unquote gay. What, in your opinion, is your best video and why? Oh, that's a good question. 7ZER0Z asked. One of my personal favorite videos, and actually this is a good thing that you mentioned this, because I was going to make a follow-up video to this video, but I never have. My favorite video is the rant I made against Six Flags. That was probably the most real I've been in a video. Like the anger and the hatred that you saw for that company, that was all genuine. That was someone, me, who had had a fondness for theme parks and such a little geek coaster boy, or whatever you want to call me, and that was all crushed. It was like a 20-year relationship, and then just like that, it was over. And I was, for lack of a better term, heartbroken that day. And I came on and I just said, I gotta make a video right away, just rape this company, rip them apart. And the stuff I did, like I literally did write letters to every single board member, to the CEOs, to the general manager of the park. I wrote them back a letter, mailed my season pass in it. I said, here, you might as well keep this because this thing is worthless to me, and I want you to know I will never. And actually I put a number of my other past season passes just to show what a loyal customer I was to them. I said, here, you can keep these too. I used to keep these for memory's sakes, but you've ruined all them, so you can keep them as well. They contacted me back. They wanted to, you know, have complimentary passes for me and everyone else that was with me that day. And again, I'm not going to go through exactly what happened. Watch the video itself. Use a little search bar function up there. Just type in Archfiend, Six Flags. And I sent all my season passes and everything back to them. And they tried contacting back, and I was like, look, compensating me monetarily or anything is beside the point. You could offer me $1 million. Granted, I know it may be ridiculous to say I was turned down $1 million, but it wouldn't restore the damage I felt they did to me. It was way beyond a money issue. I turned down everything they offered to me. And the one thing why I feel this is my greatest video, I actually didn't realize this till a year or two after the video was made. Someone who happened to be a fan of mine got a job with Six Flags in the management department. And I wish I still had this message. I don't know why I didn't save it, because I personally thank this person for giving me this feedback. The person wrote to me, said, Archfiend, you're not going to believe this, but in our management training, they showed your video, and they show it to every single they show it in every single management training seminar for the company. And I was like, oh shit, I had no idea. I was like, well, what did they do? Did they rip me apart? Did they say, yeah, this is the type of disgruntled asshole we don't have to worry about? And they said no. They have like, you know, a prepared like, you know, presentation they give, and then they show my video, and they said this was a valued customer of ours for close to 20 years, and we lost him because of one incident, and he never came back. And I was like, I can't believe that. I was like, I can't believe that what I did in just one little video, and this company that makes hundreds of millions of dollars, has franchises all over the world, not just in the United States. Six Flags actually has some, over the world, over North America, I should say, in Canada and Mexico. The fact that one of my videos shook them at the foundation, not to be too braggadocious, shook them at the foundation so much that they made a proper protocol of their management training seminars. I was just so beyond gratified. That is the single greatest thing that's ever happened from one of my videos, even if it's only for just my personal benefit. I don't know, something, you know, I could have made a fat rant that helps save someone's life. I love seeing things like that, and people are grateful towards me. But knowing that just a video I made out of rage, and that they saw it as someone that was genuinely hurt because of the actions the company gave to me, I was floored. I was absolutely floored. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that, you know, this little guy that was sitting in New Jersey that got pissed off about one bad experience turned on his camera and brought the company to their knees to not only apologize to me for what happened, but take my experience that I made talking to a camera and, you know, helped use it to change the company's protocol. God, there's a lot more questions here, but I'm going to be wrapping this up soon because I really went off on a tangent there. Anyway, so yeah, why is WC gay? Why is my best video and why? Yeah, anyways. What is opinion on Mitt Romney? I've made a video about that, like no use really repeating that. Where do you get your morals from? This guy asked like 20,000 questions in a row. Let me just... Oh yeah, that's right. This is the guy I told to shut the fuck up. Anyways, what is my opinion on veganism? This Cameron Malone for whatever, who cares? My opinion on veganism is that my personal preferences and what I choose to follow by food eating wise is mine. I really don't give a shit what someone else believes in, whether or not someone believes in veganism or anything like that. Do I understand why people can see it as extreme or irrational? Yeah, absolutely. But anyways, I'm going to end this with a sports question. All right. Actually, I'll thumb through, see if there's anything else that really catches my eye. But what are my thoughts on the NHL lockout, and when do you think it will be resolved? That's my thoughts on the NHL lockout. It's millionaires fighting with millionaires. In some cases, billionaires. Some of these owners have billions of dollars. It's something that, fuck the players, fuck the owners. The people that get screwed over the most in this are the people that aren't going to be able to afford, you know, Christmas presents for their kids because they work as a cocktail waitress at one of these sporting venues that won't have anything to do because the games aren't being held. The people that make very decent money, even like the janitors that sweep the aisles and just shit like that. It's those people that get screwed over because these millionaires are upset that the other millionaires aren't giving them as much as they think they should. It's horseshit. It's basically to the point where if they lose another season, and I know it's so rational just to say that I just want to give up on the sport. I damn near wanted to give up when I saw half the Flyers team win the Stanley Cup in Los Angeles this past season. But you know, once I start thinking about it, I still love this game. I still love the sport of hockey. I still want to see it. It's something I've watched and followed my whole life. But it's to the point now where I'm like, why should I really care about ownership and players that care more about, you know, getting a few, what could be $100,000 a year already on top of the millions they're already making? Why should I care that the owners want to lose a couple $1,000,000 when they're only making several $100 million? And they're willing to take away one season, which they did several years ago, and to now this season looking like it's probably going to start, you know, won't start till after December, and half the season's already gone. They're probably going to start at the Winter Classic. That's my prediction, because the Winter Classic has become such a big money revenue thing for that sport. It's the biggest revenue drawing thing, single event for that sport. I don't think they would want to lose that, so they'd want to, you know, get the new CBA aligned before early January. So that's when I think it's going to be resolved. But at that point, who's going to be watching it? Who's going to be watching it? Yeah, sure. The big towns will still draw a lot of fans, but there's a lot of these second-tier towns, second-tier as far as fan appreciation and showing up to the stadiums, that are just going to have abysmal crowds, and I don't blame them. These towns that are fringe towns that barely cared about hockey to begin with, I wouldn't be surprised if they get 2,000 people to show up a night to watch a game. Some towns already get near that anyway. So now you're gonna throw another monkey wrench into the whole plan here. Have fun, hockey. Have fun. Again, I'll be back to watch whenever it's back on, but I wouldn't be surprised if hockey took a big, huge financial hit from this, from people that just flat out won't want to give them the time of day anymore. And they deserve it. They absolutely deserve it. Alright, anyways, let's scroll through here. What are my thoughts on the whole help find Kara thing? Here's a news article about... I'm not going to read the news article. I have no idea about help find Kara. Anyways. What is my favorite album of all time? Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Ziggy Stardust, if you don't know, is David fucking Bowie. We're going to end on that. Alright, everyone. Thank you for asking that last question. Dromp of a hat. Dom Pro Hat. Pope Hat. Whatever the hell your name is. Yes, Ziggy Stardust. That's some good shit. Anyways, thank you guys. I went quite off on a tangent there about the whole Six Flags thing. Hope that didn't bore you guys too awful much. I didn't even answer half the questions. I apologize to all you guys. I don't apologize to the Cameron guy that asked 50 questions and was very annoying because the questions kept popping up and they kept screwing up my flow here. Anyways, you can see what I said back to him on Twitter. Link for my Twitter's in the video description again. Anyway, thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This got pretty long and drawn out, but again, you guys seem to like my videos the longer they get. Kind of like my women and my car. Anyway, that didn't make any sense. Have a great day, everyone. A better tomorrow, and I'm going to try and get these to you every beginning of the month or whatever. Anyways, have a great day, everyone.